Hey everybody, this is Nori from Smart Service, and today we're going to take a look at the latest and greatest features in version 110. Alright, so we're going to start off our list today with a very exciting and highly requested feature. A spell check has been added to Smart Service Desktop. So we're going to go ahead and take a look at that today here. With that being said, this does use the full version of Access to get the spell check feature. If your computer does not have a full version of Microsoft Access on it, we will install components for you to make the spell check work whenever you download version 110. With that being said, if you don't get this feature to work, definitely give us a call. We can help you get it all set up and going. But let's go ahead and take a look at how it works here. So on any job where notes have been added, if we open one of these up, and we head over to our instructions and additional contacts. And this is a feature that's been requested several times by a lot of you guys. We're definitely happy to get this stuff in here when we can. This spell check will correct any misspellings that you guys have in your notes. To activate this feature, if there's a note in here or write in a note, right-click anywhere in this box and use this spell check function. When you click on this function here, it's going to open up the spell check. It's going to go ahead and direct you to the words that you want to change. Or you could choose to ignore those, if there's industry-specific terms or something else. But let's go ahead and correct some spellings here. So we'll go ahead and hit change. And it'll let us know, hey, we've corrected those spellings. So this is available in all of our notes fields here in Smart Service. Again, this is done by just a simple right-click, spell check. It'll go through, make those corrections. If you come in here and you guys did a great job with your spelling already, when you check this box here, it'll come up again with that message to let you know spell check is complete. Everything looks good. A lot of the options that we put in version 110 are going to be quality of life fixes, things to really enhance your day-to-day use of the program. So there's a lot of them. They are little things like spell checks and a couple other items, but keep that in mind as we go throughout here. I'm going to be touching on a lot of different sections of the program and going over a lot of these little things we're trying to do to make your day better. One of which being on the general information page, and this can work on customers or jobs or wherever you have them, is this email field. Usually we get requests for, you want to be able to send out work orders to multiple emails at a time, and we've made sure you can do that here in version 110. To put multiple emails in this field, you need to separate them by either a comma or a semicolon. So if we want to do another email in here, we either need to put in a comma, like so, or put in a semicolon. So either will work. We'll put that in, make a space, and then we'll put in the second email that we want to put in. And now when I go to email this customer, it will send both our support email and my email over with this work order. So if you want to be able to email multiple people at a time, just do that. Separate them with commas or semicolons and add in as many as you need. It does need to be the semicolon or comma and a space to work. But this will work on your customers, your locations, your jobs, your estimates, anywhere where you want to send emails out from this program. For our next feature, we're going to go ahead and save and close this customer and head back over to our scheduling board. So we've got some exciting changes here for the waiting list at the bottom of the screen. I'm sure most of you have seen the waiting list by now. This is where you guys can store jobs that are waiting on something to be done. We're waiting to talk to that customer. We're waiting on parts. If it's closed, you just click on the view waiting list down here. It'll stay open as long as you guys have it open there. So you can close or open it. But to get to the new features that have been added to this, we got a couple neat things here. First off, when we go to our column customizer, we've added some new fields in here. These are things that you guys, our customers, have requested. So we've got them in here. One of which is the job amount, which will be the total before tax for the job. And we also have the job exception field, which is traditionally something that your iFleet technician would put on the job if there's been a problem or something like that. But I now have both of these fields available to be added to your waiting list. So to add these two or any of the other fields that you're seeing in here, all we have to do is select it from the available columns. We'll use our arrows in the middle to move it to the selected columns. These guys here, that's what's being shown on our waiting list currently. So I'll move this one over. And then, of course, you have the ability to sort and organize your waiting list by using the arrows on the right to move items up or down. So we'll go ahead and move that to about third from the top. Hit save. And now I can see that job exception field has been added in here. So that's exciting, but I'll tell you what's the most exciting for me is we've made it so that when you expand these columns now, let's say I need a little bit more space than that. When you guys close the calendar and reopen it, it used to just shrink back down to the standard size that we've set for it. Now in version 110, it remembers the column widths that you set. So not only will it remember that order now and give you the option for a couple new fields in there, it will now remember the column width that you guys set it. This is again a per person setting, but it's a great way to make sure you have enough room to display your more wordy text boxes that you have in here, or maybe things that are short, like this job description. Maybe I don't need so much. I can cut those down, and we're going to remember that preference. After that, our next feature is actually going to be in our settings section. So we're going to head over there to settings. And for this one, I'm going to head over into Setup Smart Service Add-ons. And that is some new options here in this Email Service Agreement Invoice section. So here's the deal with this one. This is available for our customers that have our CardPoint integration set up for collecting payments through Smart Service, and those of which have our service agreement module. So if you have both of those things, this feature would be just for you. What this allows you to do is not only set up the invoice template for what you want the customer to receive. This right here, what you're seeing on the screen, is a template message that the customer would receive with their attached invoice for that email. Not only can I set up this template, but I can have it so it emails a service agreement invoice after posting. So with this box checked here and a nice template made up, what this is going to do for me is whenever we head back to our office and our service agreement section, when you're going through here at the end of the month or end of the quarter or whenever you choose to bill your service agreements, you have the option of hitting that post button. Not only will that create the invoice in QuickBooks for you, but it will also send that template message and a copy of that invoice to your customer. That way you guys can make the best access of our HPP feature so the customers can pay online. That's our hosted payment page if you haven't heard us say HPP before. But it gives you a great opportunity to collect a payment through the internet right from our service agreement module. The next item on our list is going to be for those of you using QuickBooks Advanced Inventory for QuickBooks Desktop. We're going to go ahead and head over to our settings and look at our employees section. And we're going to go ahead and use Jess as our example here today. For those of you who have been using QuickBooks Advanced Inventory, you may or may not have known that you can come into these employee profiles and you can set up this default QB site. What that means is when Jess uses inventory, it's going to try to pull from this site. So you can set these up in QuickBooks. You can have warehouse, truck 1, truck 2, whatever you guys would pull from. But we've added a new feature here, and that is when you go to work on a job, and Jess is assigned to that job. So let's go to one of his services here. As long as Jess, or whichever user, is scheduled to that service and they have that QB inventory spot put on there, when you go to add job items for that person and you add an inventory part, we're automatically going to grab, we'll do it for this one here, that site for you. Now, of course, you can change this after the fact, but if you want to default that inventory site to Jess, if that's usually where he pulls from, and you have it on his profile, it'll show up in here whenever you add items, provided that Jess is attached to the job. One thing that's really important about that is if you're going through the office and you're putting on these items before you schedule it, obviously you don't have a scheduled employee, so we don't know which one to pull from if you put the items on first and then schedule it. But if you schedule the job first or have the employee on there first, or you're reviewing the job back in the office and you go to change something, or in iFleet, they go to put on an item, we will default that inventory site to them, save you a little bit of time. For our last big item for today's update here, we're going to go ahead and head over to our reports section. We've added a few new fields there in some of these reports for you. So we'll head over to our reporting. And let's go ahead and take a look at the first thing. In your equipment reports, for those of you who have been using our equipment type and equipment group features, something we've added fairly recently here to help manage large amounts of equipment, we have now added those into our reporting fields. So when you go to create an equipment type report, you do now have the option to add the equipment type. That'll be pulled from the equipment record, and of course the equipment group, which will also be pulled from that record. So if you're entering those types and groups and you want to be able to run that on a report, not only to see it, but to sort by it or group by it or filter by it, those are now optional reporting fields that you have at your disposal. With that being said, another big update coming into reports here. I'm going to go ahead and save and close out of that one. We're going to head over to our job style reports. We've also added another new thing here, and that is the iFleet notes. For those of you using iFleet notes are going to be private notes. These are notes that are put in on the job level. Let's actually go ahead and take a look at what this field is referencing here. I'll save and close this report. We'll come right back to it. On a job, you have in the notes section, public notes up here. This is what the customer would be able to see. This is usually what you're referencing in reports as job instruction. But we also now have this iFleet private notes section down here. So this is something that iFleet can communicate with you discreetly about the customer with. You can put in notes here that only the iFleet user would be able to see out in the field. But we've now decided to make those also reportable. And again, on our job reports, we can see in here that that is now one of the optional fields that we can run reports with. One last thing while we're on the note of that iFleet notes field, we have also added that into our Google Calendar fields. So if we head back here to settings, set up smart service add-ons, and we look at our Google Calendar tab, you guys probably already know that you can set up Google Calendar. You can set it up to show whatever information that you like. We have added some new fields in here, one of which being those iFleet notes. So now you can pull that in here. We've also added a few other things such as the marketing campaign and the allow marketing checkbox. Usually you're going to be looking for the campaign. That's how the customer heard about you. And those are now available to be pulled onto your Google Calendar reminder when you send these out to the guys. So if you want to be able to see that, all you got to do is click on it. And of course, you can put a little title around it or write something around it. But this way, your technicians will now be able to see both those iFleet notes from Google Calendar and also the marketing campaign. All right, everybody, and that'll wrap it up for the latest and greatest features being added to version 110 of Smart Service, which is available now. If you want to check out videos like these and wait for future videos as well on further updates, go ahead and visit us at smartservice.com/updates for more information. Thanks, and we'll talk to you next time.